10 seconds remaining.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Beyond the Summit presentation of the Kiev major qualifiers here. We've got some SEA action for you guys here. It's the third heat of the round-robin group stage here. We've got ourselves Mineski versus Faceless. I myself am Blaze, joined by Luminous. How you doing, man?
I am doing great. I'm really looking forward to how Mineski has been shaping up. We all know that Faceless is definitely the clear favorites here. They were able to easily take down their first opponent. But Mineski is kind of a wild card. I don't think a lot of people have them even in top 4 based on their recent shape, at least coming into this event. But to me, Mineski is one of those teams that when they have a good weekend, they are some of the best Dota players in the world. And the question is whether this is that good weekend. So
Definitely. So obviously Faceless is probably the team to beat for almost everybody in the qualifier here. Obviously already off to a good start with a 1-0. But yeah, we'll see what Mineski can kind of bring to bear against them. I feel like if there's any team that can take on Faceless, I would say Mineski are in the top 3. That said, historically, their win rate is not so good just because Faceless, in most of their SEA matchups, have been extremely dominant. So overall, what do you think about the playstyles here? I mean, obviously, we get to see a lot of good lane presence from players like Jay and Miracle, and they love to get involved in pretty early fight and push. But Faceless, they seem to be pretty much ready for anything.
yeah, Faceless, they draft more towards the mid and late game. And in fact, whenever I cast Faceless games, I just kind of expect them to at least lose 1 or even 2 of their lanes. They generally always win Black's lane, so that's a good reassurance. And Ice comes down to his own play. Jabs almost always loses his lane, but it's not really that big of a deal for Faceless because most of the draft and the strategy revolves around them coming back in the mid game. So for me, the key thing I'm looking for is how big of a lead can Mineski get in the laning stage, and then how much can they push with that lead, because going up against high ground against Faceless is probably the toughest thing in C Dota at the moment. You could knock them down, but you could never take them out.
Yeah, that's very true. So at this point in time, we do have ourselves a nice little well-rounded draft from both sides. So the Weaver pick is a little interesting. I mean, it's a very slippery hero that can cause a lot of problems, but he's not always the most pronounced high-impact hero. He's kind of one of those that does a lot of damage over the course of a fight, and just his high mobility is a key factor here. But, of course, you also have the Invoker factor here. Jabs loves to pick that one up here, but that still leaves a lot of room to grow as far as this draft goes. I mean, you're probably a ranged laning support, and then just one of the harder carries for Black.
Yeah, so whenever they pick up the Invoker, they're looking to set up all over with Sunstrike kills, which is more of a traditional way to play the Fire Invoker. And you do see Centaur already pretty good. I think Centaur Invoker used to be the dual combo that the Chinese team ran a lot, right? Once you get the Blink Dagger at the ready, you're looking at upwards of 1,000 burst damage coming out of nowhere. With Blink, Stomp, Double Edge. And before that, you got the Crystal Maiden and the Earth Spirit setup. But I do want to talk about the Weaver a little bit more, because we've been seeing Weaver, at least, I guess the trend of last couple months was the support Weaver. But Mineski is one of the few teams that prefers to go carry Weaver with Miracle on the helm. They do sometimes put Jules on the hero, but almost always it's Weaver carry. And I think this is actually his best carry hero, at least in the last patch. For Miracle, he seems to be able to put his whole team on the back. And honestly, if you look at heroes like Crystal Maiden, Earth Spirit, these are going to be free picks in the later portion of the game. Early on, he has to worry about the ability to silence a root, but once he has the necessary items, I think Miracle is going to do a lot of work on the Weaver.
Yeah, so, of course, he does have some limitations here, playing grand heroes like Earth Spirit. And do you think the Invoker could even maybe look at an Orchid here? Or is it just going to be your more traditional, like, Aghanims build up after you go for the BOT Midas?
I generally don't see Invoker, or rather Jabs, get things like Orchids, but, you know, if there's more and more heroes that the Silence is going to be good against, such as Ember, maybe that Orchid is seeming better and better.
Yeah, I think like at the very least towards the late game, you're definitely looking at a Bloodthorn against this kind of a lineup. But the question is whether he makes that a priority, and it's probably not. He usually likes to just focus on like his spells, just go for the Sunstrikes and Meteor action, and I think that should be fine overall. But I'm trying to think of the best option as far as a carry goes. I mean, what does Faceless give Black in order to deal with high tempo, high damage hero like Ember Spirit and a very slippery one like Weaver?
I like Anti-Mage here. Because if you look at the off lane that Mineski is presenting, is the Nyx Assassin, right? It's not something that could pressure Anti-Mage out of the lane. And I don't think Anti-Mage deals with Weaver or Ember particularly well early, but once you get the Basher, and of course with the Abyssal Blade to follow up, suddenly Weaver and Ember, if they don't have a Lincoln Sphere, they just can't participate in the fight. So, of course, he played it earlier today, has showed that exceptional skills on the hero. I think you were casting that game, so I like AM here, and then there's a Nursa pick. So
all right, so that's a support Nyx Assassin or a support Weaver. More likely to be the support Nyx.
Yep.
We have seen some Virtus Pro type stuff here. The little Weaver come out a couple of times, but not much in SEA. I don't think they're really as
well. The
adamant
thing
about
is,
it.
like, if you don't do the support Weaver, how are you gonna lane this, right? I feel like Ursa has to be the carry, Ember has to be the mid.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I think Nyx is just a better offlane than Weaver.
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment. I mean, you can dual lane and make anything pretty viable. Maybe they work together and they kind of trade farm a little bit, but there's definitely not going to be like a hard farmer between the two of them. And I was actually curious if Void would be something that we could be looking at here. I think if he goes for like the Manta Diffusal, he can kind of have the same value that you were talking about with the Anti-Mage. And then also just there's a lot of potential for him to just lock down a hero like Ember and Weaver before the fight even begins. And I haven't really seen much combos with like the Freezing Field and the Chrono, but that radius is huge, so some good positioning, and they could really follow that up nicely. At the very least, you're getting freebie pickoffs with the Sunstrike and Chrono, and that's a classic, but I think they could go for even more as the game progresses.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether he will go for the Diffusal Blade Manta build that you suggested. I'm not saying that that's a bad build, because it seems like that is more of the standard build, but whenever he plays the Faceless Void Black, he likes to go for the Mask of Madness. And
really? The new Mask of Madness?
Yeah, the new Mask of Madness. He likes to actually just go DPS.
I mean, that's like so it's an 8-second duration where you're silencing yourself and you're reducing your armor, and you have a 6-second cooldown, essentially like a time lapse.
Right.
So, like, in that context, you are making it just hindering yourself so that you can't really take full advantage of the time walk when you really want to spam the spell out at multiple times a fight. So
I mean, it doesn't matter if they're all stunned, right? And
yeah,
killing them.
It means that he's just in a purely offensive mindset. He doesn't care about how high or low his health goes. He just wants to be right in the action, right on top of his opponents. So
now, the 2 games that he got the Mask of Madness, he did have Empower from offlane Magnus.
Okay.
I wonder whether that's going to change. He does have Alacrity to back him up, so if he's looking to do physical damage, he still has that option to do so. Yeah,
and one thing I guess is key to mention is that you don't have to use the Mask of Madness in a fight. Like, if you just want to use it for farming, even that is really good for sustain and just overall attack speed. And then if you feel like it'll get you the kill, then you'll pop it. So I guess it comes down to a little bit of how you play it as much as it does whether or not it's the correct decision for the game.
I like this new Mineski logo.
Oh yeah, that's pretty sick. Actually, they've had the same logo forever, man.
Yep.
Like, I think that's easily 2012 or earlier. Start casting them, and they're like, "Yep, same logo as always." Even their Mineski X is the same thing. So, good to have a change of pace. New logo, new life. And we're starting off with the Blightstone and some early. Well, it looks like it's not his wards, but I definitely think this Weaver could be very low on the farm priority list. It's going to be played by Jules. And yeah, I guess they are going to be making it so that Ralphie with the offlane Nyx Assassin takes the 3rd position.
I actually think that Jules has to get a lot of farm this game, because their best counter to the Chronosphere is the next time lapse from Jules, right? In fact, that's just a hard counter to the Faceless Void, especially if he's going for like more of the pick-off Chronos with the one-man Chrono into like Sunstrike or whatever else. So to me, Jules is the most important player, at least in the early game for him, his roam, and then more towards the late game once he start picking up those axe counterparts. So we'll see how Jules does. I think Jules traditionally plays a very AUI-esque kind of a support. He plays a 4 that slowly transitions into a core. So I have no doubt that he's going to be looking towards some decent farm this game.
I like how planned out Miracle's build is in his quick buy. He's just like, okay, I'm going the Orb Venom, the Phase Boots, Stick, Blink. Like, it may be considered bullheaded. You know, you're not being very flexible in case the matchups change a little bit or the pace of the game changes. But at the same time, it's a man who knows what he wants, so I can respect that.
Yeah, you know, about a month and a half ago when he was playing Ursa a lot on the SEA games, he used to prefer the Helm of the Dominator. I wonder if the nerf of the item has made him kind of go back to the more traditional build. Or he might even change his mind halfway through, so we'll see.
Yeah, Dominator definitely adds a lot of value here, but I'm not sure like how much harassment they're going to be doing against him. A lot of these heroes from Faceless are like hard commitment heroes, so you're either 100 HP or you're 0. So the sustain factor of like the Helm of the Dominator might not be as compelling either. We'll see. For right now, Centaur boots first, no Stout on the offlane. He's going to be taking a lot of poke damage from Jules on the Weaver.
Yeah, critically, Ice doesn't exactly have the highest armor
Rolling
value.
on mid here, actually. It's going to be a lot of damage onto Jay. They have the Orb of Venom. They didn't, unfortunately, hit the Rolling Boulder, or that would have been very close to First Blood.
Yep, but still, nice critical amount of damage. Zone him out of the lane. Ice on the top. As I was saying, the Blightstone's going to take away any armor that he has, so with the rotation of Disruptor, especially if he has Kinetic Field skilled up, this should be a very easy kill.
Yeah, so Centaur really just doesn't have the option of moving as far forward and doesn't get to be as involved in this position. Do you think at a certain point you just look to go jungle?
I think Ice is one of the few players that even if the lane doesn't go particularly well, he doesn't like to jungle with heroes that don't jungle well. And I don't think Centaur is one of those, right? Like, you can even see he's not even taking return. He's actually looking just to fight with double edge and perhaps just go back to Shrine. He also doesn't have any parts of the Iron Talon, so I'm not sure how well he could transition.
Yeah, it seems like he's just going to force XY to rotate up to help him out eventually. Like, you can try and up for a bit, but in the long term, if you're going to stay committed to this lane, you're going to need help. So I think that they should probably make a rotation up there pretty soon. For right now, though, XY is just playing the bounty runes and making sure that he stays active more towards the mid and bottom lane.
I mean, I could make an argument even Nuts could start rotating up top. Because I feel like Void in a 1v1 situation is going to be absolutely fine against the Nyx Assassin. And it's not like Crystal Maiden being on the bottom lane would get you a Nyx kill.
That's true. Yeah, I guess he's just trying to make sure that there's not too much pressure on Black, that he gets his guaranteed early farm. Obviously, once the Nyx Assassin has the Mango Poor Man Shield, it's going to be harder for the Void to force him back. So Nuts is just going to get some free damage while he can, but hopefully he can get some pulls off pretty soon.
Well, Impale's going to come through the range creeps, helping out against Nuts here, but no harm, no foul.
What do you think about just the Maiden just abandoning the lane and just jungling straight up?
I mean, again, I just think that she does more anywhere else on the map. She's actually not doing much on the bottom. Or is just not being zoned out, or is actually lasting.
We haven't really seen a lot of like committed jungling from Crystal Maiden ever since maybe like the Centaur's got that magic resistance aura, and so like you have to attack the creep like 8 times instead of 4 to actually kill him. Like, I don't know really how the equation changed, but just overall, Crystal Maidens have been much more active on lanes, going for earlier points in Crystal Nova, and really just not making it a priority to go for the jungle.
Well, they're going to make a go here on the bottom side here, and our nice 2-man Impale will actually run through the tree. Meanwhile, Japs picks up a solo kill by himself. There's a swarm coming in. Jules might get the first kill here against Nuts. Nuts going to go down. They do lose the Nyx Assassin as well, but the big win here is actually on the mid lane. Black gets a stun here. And
need another one.
Ooh, that's going to hit XY with the plays. He also dropped a sentry so that the Void could actually get off an extra attack or two. That was some high display of skill there by XY.
Yeah. And undoubtedly, of course, being able to get the solo kill on the Ember Spirit is still one of the most impactful things that can happen in this early game, and the Sunstrike had to have been just perfect for that to kind of happen. I don't think that otherwise Jay would have made a mistake like that.
So I believe I prefaced the draft by saying that Faceless generally always lose the laning stage. And this is one of the few times that they're actually doing extremely well in the lanes, and that makes me very fearful for Mineski.
Yeah.
Because Faceless generally makes, a comeback with a 4K deficit, but now they are just ahead.
And XY is doing a lot of work as well. Like, he's been active, his rotations have been solid, at least putting pressure on the Ember, and now 1-0-1 here very early in the game. Crystal Maiden going to be pretty passive here. She's kind of buying up all like the Flying Courier, the wards, etc. So she's going to be pretty static here on bottom lane. But they do have Observer Ward vision on Jules, and they know that it's Mineski's game plan to put some more pressure down here against the Faceless Void.
Yep. But, I mean, the reason that XY is on the bottom is because mid doesn't need his help anymore. I mean, we already saw the solo kill. Look at what Jay's doing. He's actually just straight up jungling. He can't lane.
That.
Yeah, he can't lane against Invoker anymore. So essentially, Faceless is winning at least 2 out of the 3 lanes. And if you look at Ice, it's doing all right.
Oh, nice pickup with the Sunstrike there. Even the Bullet Smash to make sure no creeps were in the way. Ralphie does get a decent impale up onto the Earth Spirit, but he needed a lot more than that to try to get away. They're going to try to get a return kill here, but XY is able to beat the bug down, and that one auto attack Jules needed is not going to come through. So it's going to be 4 kills to 1 here for Faceless here 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, Jules threw that Swarm pretty early into the fight. I think he should actually just try to aim for the Crystal Maiden rather than trying to hit as many targets as possible, because really the only person I think that he could actually kill is the CM. And of course the Swarm did not hit the CM, so nobody died.
Yep. Now Ice will be able to pick up his Tranquil Boots. Just went for the Quelling Blade for now. We'll get the Iron Talon next, but just the ability to have the raw sustain in the lane is going to be exactly what he needs. Now he only has to be worried about, again, that 100-0 situation where he gets caught by Glimpse or Kinetic into the Ursa's open claws.
Yep. And speaking of Ursa, I mean, he's leading in terms of CS, but I really think that Miracle has to be the saving grace for the team, right? Because really, he's the only one that could get his team back into this game at this point. I guess Nyx Assassin Ganks could help out, but you know, he's been struggling a little bit on the bottom lane as well.
So what I'm trying to understand what this Weaver's trying to accomplish. Obviously, talk about like towards the later stage of the game, you get the Aghanim Scepter. He can do a lot of good resets, but for right now, it's usually just this Medallion, Blightstone, Harassment, where you just kind of poke and prod. He's not even level 4 though, so he doesn't get the Geminate, doesn't get that extra damage, and Nyx is also kind of on the back end. I just don't really know that there's many opportunities for aggression for a hero like Weaver at this stage.
Yeah, she definitely needs a little bit of help. Maybe Nyx Assassin, once he's 6, you know, maybe we can see some dual invis gank action. But until now, I think he's going to be trying his best to get some levels. That's really all he could do.
So, in the meantime, Ralphie will just get poked down here. We'll be able to absorb most of this damage and trade with the mana burn and such, but in the end, like, they're not winning bottom lane by any stretch. So the real resurgence for Mineski has got to come from Miracle, I think. Yep. He's going to be the one who gets his key items online faster than anybody else. And yeah, when that dagger comes up, he's got to find some blood.
I mean, it's really do or die, right? Because when your Ursa gets a blink and doesn't get any kills, when you're so far behind, the game might just be over. Chronosphere gets spent on the bottom lane, Sunstrike on Q, and
beautiful.
Yep.
Nice wombo combo there. Pretty much as soon as Black hits level 6, he looks for that opportunity. And, of course, with already 4 points in Exort, Chavs is happy to oblige.
Well, it seems like Disruptor has been rotating mid to grab experience. And as a result, I mean, look at Ice, he's already level 6. And in fact, I think they're trying to set up a kill up top here, but XOI and the Crystal Maiden rotating in.
Yeah, they definitely have the potential to do so, but Miracle, of course, has his ultimate and is going to try to use it here to try to get out. No, gets comboed up too hard and goes down without popping the Enrage. They do catch eyes as well on Ninja Boogie, but he should be fine under tower. So yeah, well, Jay kind of goes ahead and jungles it up. Ninja Boogie gets close to his level 6, but that gives them a big opening on the top lane where they can just kind of run all over the Ursa.
Yeah, I mean, they could have initiated by just pressing the center ult and just running in the stun, but I really like the way that they did it instead, which is initiating with a silence, which just guarantees a kill.
Yeah, otherwise that Enrage makes it a lot more difficult for sure. So just quick silence, quick catch out. I mean, the range isn't great on that spell, but he was coming from the tree line at night, so was able to kind of drop the Remnant and get the opening that he really wanted. And from there, now slows down the Blink Dagger a little bit and slows down the momentum of a very momentum-dependent hero.
Alright, Nyx Assassin's about to hit level 7, so maybe once he gets that creep, he goes to the side shot for a TP and looks to make something happen. Because I don't think this is the lineup you want to farm your way back. And in fact, he does TP to the top shrine, and he's looking to take jabs, but jabs, I believe already has a sentry down in mid lane.
They're going to be able to get a nice combo here, and the Haste Rune is not going to be speedy enough to get him out of that one. And in the meantime, Ice is able to TP out of the top lane. I guess Glimpse was the initiation, and that meant that even with the Static Storm and the Ursa, they weren't able to finish him off. So great TP from Ice. And yeah, just clearing out the mid lane, no problem at all.
Yep. So Faceless just dropped the sentry just to clear the enemy sentry, but because Nyx was nearby, they saw him as well. So they're definitely aware of the Nyx gank at this point. And tower is going to go down. They actually frostbite the Nyx Assassin up. I don't think they're going to go on that or anything, but we keep saying that Mineski needs to make some comeback through the Nyx and the Ursa, and so far it's not happening.
Speaking of Helmet Dominators, we actually have Black picking it up here for himself on the Void, so he's going to have a nice little Hellbear Smasher, one of the best early creeps in the game to help him out here. And yeah, well, you can't really DPS much into your own Chrono with a Hellbear unless you're just that good. I do feel like it is going to be a nice tool to keep him sustained and keep him farming very quickly.
Actually, whenever he plays Void and he gets HOD, he likes to go for the Centaur because obviously your units have, max movement speed inside the Chrono, so he actually chain stuns with the Centaur.
Oh, so it does get to go in the Chronosphere.
Yeah.
I actually have not played Helmlet Dominator Void, so I really can't attest that one. But I remember Necronomicon worked. So
yes, that used to be the meme build.
No, that was legit, dude.
Yeah.
When Necro 3 was at its strongest before all the nerfs,
Man.
you would actually just rush that shit, and it was
Necro 3
solid.
into Refresher. You just
Oh, okay, that's a meme build. All right.
I mean, you got the double Chrono, and then you just have books.
Nah,
you read to them.
But yeah, okay, yeah. If the Hellbear can just walk right in there,
Yep.
then yeah, no problem at all. That's actually really solid. So yeah, I'm even more kill potential. With a Sunstrike, he can pretty much kill anybody he lays eyes on. They can't even go bottom, or they're afraid of just getting immediately picked off.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
All right, I'm just watching XY kind of dominating the map, dropping very deep wards to see rotations and whatnot, and it's Ice not going for the blink, rather going to go for Hood. He understands that really they have a lot of tools to get pickoffs already. XY has been doing a lot, the Chronosphere's been doing a lot.
Okay.
Speaking of which, we're going to see a rotation bottom. Black's going to get initiated on, they jump in, and they're going to try to burst him down, and they do. The reveal of the Blink Dagger is very critical to find that kill.
Yeah, if he had maybe like a Centaur Stomp instead of a Hellbear Smash available to him, that might have been like the great escape where he resets all that damage received. But no, they made the impressive rotation to bring a Miracle down with the Smoke at his seat. Usually you'll couple that with like the Invoker coming in, but Invoker's in fact on mid lane making sure this Invoker goes down and actually stopping the bleeding quite a bit for Mineski. I mean, they were really hurting for kills, and now they bring it back.
Under attack.
Yep. Did you mean they bring the Ember as well?
No, I mean, I thought that the Disruptor would rotate down because you can always, as long as you have vision with the Nyx, you can always glimpse back
Yeah, fair.
and do some really good punishes that way. So when you rotate your core, the Disruptor usually would want to be there as well to guarantee the kill because all you need is vision and you have a guaranteed kill. But in this case, they didn't need it. They just get the full burst with the Nyx Assassin and not a quick enough reaction from Black out of the Vendetta.
Nyx Assassin rotating through, but it looks like they do see him, and now they're going to try to burst him down. Where's the Storm? There is no Storm. That Nyx Assassin just gets deleted. You jump in, and Black...
I can't fight this. He's got the Chronosphere. He's got a free kill on Ninja Boogie at the very least, but Magnetize taking him down. One more tick will kill him off, and they're actually going to be able to... Okay. Misclick on the Weaver. I think he wanted to try to throw the Remnant at him, and in the end just pushes the little bug away, but it's still free tier 1, 2 great pickoffs, and Chronosphere still available.
Yep.
Are fortified.
I was calling for a Static Storm. Obviously, Disruptor had on cooldown, so...
Yeah, I dropped it on the Invoker mid, which is still a solid pickup, but it means that you're vulnerable to these kinds of rotations, and Faceless, they have a really good idea in terms of when they can do these kinds of rotations and when they can make these fights happen. So this is going to propel them very far forward. Ice halfway to a dagger and sitting on the casual hood of Defiance. So this is going to make it so that it's very hard to bring him down. He's very confident moving forward, and he's going to still have the initiation tool very shortly.
They're trying to camp him on the bottom side, though.
Well, what can they do? Like, even if it's a Static Storm, you're expecting a rotation. We will see just Chronosphere, Sunstrike kill onto the Weaver, but like, they die of the Centaur, and they're the ones that are going to be killed.
Yeah, especially when he gets to activate his hood under that storm. Could tank much longer.
Yeah, I mean, Veil of Discord's nice, but it's still such a raw HP pool, so much magical absorption and mitigation, and then you got your reinforcements coming in. I just don't see it working. Maybe with Ursa. Now they're in business.
Well, are they gonna try to just force the kill here on the bottom side? Ice.
Clear out the wave, get behind the tower, and hope that you can actually get like a 4v3.
I mean, he's already cutting trees, trying to make it half out.
Tower is under attack.
Ninja Boogie goes in the trees here, and now he gets stunned up. He might actually be dead here. Sunstrike, boom! And he is going to go down, but they're going to jump in. Ursa pops his ultimate, is going to try right-click down Ice. Still very, very tanky. 3-man Chrono. Black does not have the Chrono, obviously use it up top. First hit bash going on here onto Jules, and now Crystal Maiden being focused down by two heroes on the back line. No, they actually just want Black instead. Jabs joining the fight, drops a cold snap, and now Crystal Maiden really isolated without no one helping him, and while actually still juking around in towers. Triple Remnant going in on the back line here. They kill the Invoker, and now they're looking for Black. Black jumps away. Crystal Maiden finally dies. They get the tier 1 out of it as well. That was a really strange and chaotic team fight, and I think heroes like Ursa with Blink, Ember Spirit Weaver, they love chaotic fights.
Oh, absolutely. And I really did feel like that could have been a very one-sided engagement after the fact that they had just killed off the Disruptor with no ultimate. Like, the Disruptor doesn't even need a long time to get an ulti out. Just a fraction of a second, that spell's down, and it can really just turn the tables. But they didn't even need that. The fact is they got to have these really awkward positioning where the Crystal Vein was too far to the east, or obviously we saw the Weaver get aggressive on the west. Like, it came down to the fight being stretched very thin and them lacking the control they needed. That Chronosphere is still on CD.
Yeah, I wonder if there was like a breakdown in communication where half the team wanted to run away, and then half the team says, you know, we got ice still alive, we got black coming in, maybe we should fight this. That kind
Judging
of stuff.
by how Ice moved in that fight and how he just kind of walked into 3 heroes that were mostly doing physical damage at the time, I would say that it was definitely communication issues.
Yep. Well, that was definitely a big break that Mineski needed, right? That was 4 hero kills at tier 1. And suddenly when you're removing these tier 1s off the map, let's not forget that Ursa's an amazing Roche hero. So you're pressuring, you're pressuring them on the map when you suddenly have a good Roshan threat available.
So this is where quick buy can be annoying. Miracle quick buys the BKB into Basher, and then he hits his quick buy twice and ends up buying a Belt of Strength he's not going to use forever. But, it's fine. He's still going to be able to do a lot when he gets the BKB online. Only really has to worry about Chronosphere at that point and getting kited by the Stampede.
Miracle on the mid lane, following Jay. Did you see Black? Can they storm him? Blink.
They need a storm.
Nice impale by RR. I don't know exactly how he found the Blink Dagger throughout all of this. They are going to get a return kill, but hey, man, worth.
Yeah, whatever works, man. And yeah, it ends up being a very timely Blink Dagger here as they're just able to get just enough kill action. He's gotten a couple good assists, so able to build himself up to what he needs to set the team up for success. I mean, Ursa blinking alone is not going to win this game. They definitely need more from his initiation than that. So being able to at least have the range on the Disruptor and, of course, having this Blink Dagger on the Nyx, that's what's going to extend their reach and allow them to take the fights on their terms. Ice
went for a Blink Impale blind, but missed on the Weaver, so the Sunstrike also missed. And speaking of Weaver, like, Jules is not joining these fights. He understands that his priority right now is farming towards the Aghanims. Some Weaver likes to make a pit stop at the Solo Crest, but not right now. Not this game.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Ice going down. He will go for the TP away, but they've got the Impale Glimpse and the kill onto the center order. In the meantime, we do have a roll out on the mid lane where the Ursa is not able to secure a kill here on the Earth Spirit. You have to like perfectly body block that roll out if you're going to be able to kill him off. But still, across the map, his Jabs, I believe, takes that tower. It looks like it was already down, but right now, Mineski are showing some real strength in terms of coming back from a weak laning stage and starting to really even the odds. I mean, this Ursa could do so much with just a few items, so he's going to continue to propel himself forward. Yeah,
the funny thing is normally the situation's reversed, right? Faceless is the one that normally does a little bit poorly in early game, and then they make this strong mid-game comeback. So Mineski now doing it back to Faceless. And Ember Spirit does have the BOT already. He's got a Radiance queued up.
Really?
Is this the Magic Ember build that we're looking for?
I mean, it's certainly a lot of magical damage. This is maybe the build you would have expected when we saw the Ember mixed with the ET, but no, he's got a lot of potential damage as he can survive through the fight. The big thing is dodging Chronos. Like, I guess you think about it this way. Remember, like, around TI1, when the build for Weaver was Radiant's Heart?
Yeah.
Well, now, Ember Spirit's going to have time-lapse because of the Aghanim Scepter.
Sure.
So you just pretend you're a Weaver, and it works out. We see a Chronos on strike. Sorry for missing that, but it is pretty clear-cut in terms of just jumping on him, hitting your buttons, and getting a free kill on the Weaver. But, yeah, this Ember, I mean, Radiance, it definitely can work. You can survive for a long time if you don't get locked down by the Earth Spirit, mostly. Obviously, the Chrono... well, even the Root comes in from CM, and you can kind of be caught off guard. So he's going to be very dependent on the Weaver if he wants to make this work.
I mean, I'm all down for this game plan if you know the Weaver is going to get that axe, but like you just pointed out, he just died again, right? So I don't know if he's going to get towards that axe anytime soon.
It's tough. It requires a lot of pieces to come together. Like, I love the end product. The jigsaw puzzle is really nicely, but right now it's shattered to pieces, and they need to kind of pull it together. In the meantime, Tier 1 up top should be pretty cleanly killed off, but the smoke movement on mid should create an opportunity here on Weaver again. Dagger silence? Think so? Nice.
Feels bad, man. And every time he's dying, he's got 1,200 gold, but he never actually buys a point booster, so...
It's tough. That is really rough. As he continues to fall behind his allies, I mean, he's here neck and neck with Weaver, or with the Nyx Assassin in terms of net worth, and... just not going anywhere fast, so definitely have to make some adjustments here. Probably keep your treads on strength constantly from this point forward. Do see the Earth Spirit caught inside this combo, so he's not going to be going anywhere quickly, and the Crystal Maiden going down as well. At least that was a nice little pick off there, and some good gold going in towards the Ursa. Yeah,
it seems like the Ursa is not really looking to get any Roshan opportunities, at least not at the moment. Maybe
You got to break down some towers first, I think. Like, there's no way that you can... I mean, you got the shrine, you got all these towers, just... You don't have control of the map. You need to get some good wards up. This one's not bad because it's very hard to deward. And then once you have a better idea of how your enemy's moving, then you can. But you can't just walk in the pit there against like the Blink Centaur, the Shadow Blade, Void. Like, you're just asking for trouble that way.
Yeah, I think that's really the big point there. Like, the ability for Void and Centaur to really steal your Roshan is quite easy for them. So I don't think Miracle wants to take that risk. And honestly, he is making much more impact just by fighting and looking to kill people over the map. His first major item is a Black King bar. Do you agree with that choice, given the fact that Chronosphere is just a legit counter to him?
I mean, obviously it counters the other 4 heroes almost entirely, right? Like, there's some decent physical damage from the Invoker, but all the spells from Crystal Maiden, Invoker, Earth Spirit, and for the most part Centaur, are completely nullified by this BKB. So it just seems like a key item for the game. The problem is with this early timing, you're running out of charges faster, and you're just not going to be able to really have any longevity in the fight as you wear it down to 5 seconds. So I think he just has to make sure that those uses count. Every time he uses it, he gets a kill or 2, wins a fight, just enables his team. Because it is a very important item to pick up at some point this game, but getting out so early means they have to start winning now.
Well, he's 3-1-4. He's definitely doing extremely well. If kind of consider his score independently from how his teams do. But if you don't do the Roche, they will do it.
Yeah, very nice sneak play from Faceless there. Just realizing that they have so much more potential in these close quarters, no matter what. So if you can just take advantage of it while they are showing themselves bottoms, it's well worth it. Ember Spirit moving in towards Radiance very quickly now. It's just going to be about 600 gold, and he will have that complete. And yeah, as long as he can play around the Weaver properly. I mean, Veil and going to have the level 3 Remnants, just allowing him to do so much damage. Does, of course, get himself some extra spell lamp there to make it worthwhile. We're going to see Nyx Assassin drop down up top. Didn't get the chance to use a Carapace. XY has been really on point with all his Boulder play.
So we're going to see a solo kill attempt by Jules. Jules might get Ice Ice Ice. Nope, just kidding. The cavalry has arrived.
That's what he wants you to think, man.
Yeah.
And actually, there was also at the same time pickoff. It looks like our Chrono Sunstrike play here on the Disruptor. Nowhere is safe, man. Like, it feels safe, but it really isn't. You're locked in time. It doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah, Black has been having some very strong RNG this game. A lot of first hit bashes.
I mean, do you even think the mechanism will help that much for the Disruptor? Like, you want a team fight. You want to be able to just kind of walk down a lane and push in together and get, you know, the 5-man kinetic static and pop the mechanism and be like, I am a team fight god. And then, you know, Black just hops on top of you and whacks away 3 times and you just fall over dead.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think the mech is going to be great. I mean, it's going to be good against maybe the ultimate from Earth Spirit, but that's pretty much it. I feel like maybe getting a Ghost Scepter will give him a much better chance to survive.
Yeah, at least in these solo pickoff situations. But Mineski traditionally has been a team that favors mechanism quite heavily. I remember Jules even rushing it out on Ogre a lot in the last major. So we're actually going to see another Silence combo. This time the stun doesn't connect, though, and it's not going to be enough to get them the kill. In fact, it's going to be initiation here onto the Earth Spirit, popping everything. Static Storm and the Stampede coming out at the same time, but Ralphie taking low to the Meteor, and a nice double stun, double edge on the Centaur. Oh, but his BKB coming out from the Ursa, pops his Enrage, kills off the Centaur, and Black still does not have his Chrono up and available. So it's going to conclude as a 2-for-1 here, as Mineski take a very nice fight.
Okay. I mean, normally after a fight like that, you're like, okay, let's go Roche, but obviously no Roche. So, despite winning a fight, Mineski is unable to really take a big objective to kind of capitalize on it. So, I don't think Faceless fans out there should be too worried, at least about that one.
Yeah, I mean, it buys time for your Ember Spirit to really take advantage of this Radiance. Like, probably one of your most vulnerable points for a Radiance purchase, other than obviously when you're holding like 3,000 gold and not buying it, is just after purchasing it when you really want to make the most of it. You want to farm. You haven't bought any HP items at all. So at this point in time, he does feel very squishy, very vulnerable, and has to play it calm. But if he gets the Yules and then Octarine, then I think he's going to be putting himself in a position where he can actually man up more in the fights. So I think that while the fight is unfortunate because Miracle had to pop his 10-second BKB, it is really good for the Ember Spirit to build up his next set of items.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Interesting to see that Faceless is actually looking at pressure right now, and now they're going to join a fight.
Ooh, going on in. He pops another BKB charge and is not able to get the Earth Spirit. Also going to see the Sunstrike a bit off the mark, and it's going to be Nuts taking a spill here in the Static Storm. Really taking a while to bring down, but in the end he does fall. Nice 2-man Chronosphere Invoker Carapace for the moment, but will follow it up with a Tornado here. EMP, is it going to be enough? Oh, is going to sign the fate of the Disruptor and finish off the Nyx Assassin here as well, but Ember Spirit has a haste rune. No. Oh, he does have the Yules. He has a Purge, and that is going to be a dead Ember Spirit as well. Just a brutal team fight from Team Faceless, and the Ursa not able to make enough happen in the first few seconds of that fight.
Yeah, I mean, a point that you mentioned earlier in the game was the importance of these BKB charges, so he's actually used a couple of them, and that was a big team fight loss despite of the BKB usage.
Yeah, he only got 1,500 damage in through that whole fight. Most of it was on an Earth Spirit who just rolled away. It's just, you need more. He needs this Basher, and then maybe even Abyssal on top of that to really continue to stay on his targets. Oh, the Centaur, Aghanim Scepter. Like, this hero is so strong now, right? Centaur, like, obviously, a lot of people like to talk about his late game. If he gets to 25, he has that return to everybody, buys a heart or two. But I think just even the power spike of having your Hood, Blink, and your Aghanim Scepter, like that in of itself does so much work. In fact, it's making it very difficult to bring down XY, who then turns it onto the Nyx Assassin, who was assassinating him.
Yep, they also even brought in a Centaur with the help of Stampede to actually stun. The Centaur, the neutral creep, not the actual hero. So, nowhere is safe indeed.
So, a big experience lead for Faceless at this point in time, and it's just getting harder and harder for them to really push their objectives. I think they're waiting for this Aghanims on the Weaver. Once they have that reset tool, maybe they could start to try to approach fights more recklessly, but at least for right now, they're kind of outgunned. So finally, Jules picks that up here. 28 minutes, I doubt, was the benchmark that he was looking for, but he has it now, and we'll see what he can do with it.
Gold and sweet.
Let me check the Roshan timer. I really feel like Mineski needs to, in order to truly come back in this game, they need to put Aegis on Ursa. Because essentially the way that Faceless fight is a one-cycle team fight, right? They commit pretty much everyone of their ultimate, and they have to win the fight right then and there. So having Aegis or any way to draw out the fight is going to be critical. That's why I put so much emphasis on the Axe earlier, and it seems like Mineski is having the same idea in mind, and Jules does have it finish.
So what are we looking at for this Ember Spirit's late game? Obviously, he's got his kind of what we would call the core here. The only thing he's really lacking is HP. So I think Octarine is pretty obviously next. And then what, you go Mjolnir?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a Yules picked up right after the Radiance. I guess Mjolnir is probably the highest DPS output.
Yeah, I still think he needs to get a little bit of health here, at least give him his chance to self-purge. And then after that, I mean, is that his full 6 slot? Is that it? Just Veil, Radiance, Yules, Mjolnir, Octarine?
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Yeah.
I don't really see much more progression, but it does have a lot of potential, especially for killing off the lower HP supports in the backline. I've been victim to that way too many times in pubs the past few days, so I think it's going to be on Faceless to kind of protect Nuts as well as XY. You should always protect your Nuts. It's a vulnerability. Dude, it's his name. Like, you can't not jump on that whenever you can as a caster.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Nuts Ice, so I don't know why.
Yeah, he's sponsored, dude. Ice got his back.
Nobody else, just sponsoring Nuts.
Yeah, well,
nobody else is sponsoring.
I don't want to know what's in that contract. What favors are required for an Ice sponsorship?
All right, we got a a Lincoln's on the Invoker. Good for the glimpse, I suppose. Pretty much just for the glimpse.
Potential Abyssal Blades and things of that nature, but yeah, the big thing is the glimpse here, just allowing the Invoker to continue to push out lanes more actively.
Chronosphere gonna get spent here, and now Jay taking a ton of damage. They time
Oh!
he's right back, and now Black does have the BKB active, but the BKB now gets jumped on the other side. Jay.
Oh, nice Static Storm coming out here, and it's going to actually put a lot of heroes here in the mix, right where Ursa wants them, but he just doesn't have the sustain. After the Enrage and BKB wear off, he gets melted, and it's going to be now Ice 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 going on to the Nyx Assassin here. Ralphie pops the Carapace, tries to get away, but it's going to be the Weaver who actually slips himself out of that one. Sunstrike attempted for Ralphie, going to be turning and stunning, and they just want to try to minimize their losses here. Ninja Boogie lipping over to try to buy a TP from the side shop, and I think that might be enough for them to get out. They didn't see Ninja Boogie in the trees, but his TP's on cooldown for 30 seconds, and the Sentry Ward catches out the Weaver.
Oh, no. Yep, he's going to go down. Really the big problem in that team fight was they drop a lot on the BKB on the Void, and even though they managed killing him, they just didn't have enough in the tank to actually prolong that team fight. I think Mineski, at least based on paper, they want to have prolonged team fights, right? That's where the Radiance gets to do a lot. But Jay out of mana, and I think also out of Fire Remnant. So he just stood a lot of that team fight just outside.
Yeah, he was in full panic mode from the beginning.
Yeah.
He had to immediately self-fuel, immediately Remnant out, and just kind of didn't get to participate in a big way. And I'm actually going to see XY in some trouble here, but some Disables coming out against Miracle, and he has to pop the BKB again. At this point, it might as well be 5 seconds. And we're going to see a double stun against the Nyx, against the Centaur, but prolonging his own life, the Nyx Assassin will be falling.
Well, Mineski fighting without the Weaver is really not the fight they're looking for. Jay
Can they get
jumping
him?
left, jumping right. They do have the Weaver to back him up, though. So he jumps away.
He's going to need it, and they might time-lapse him into a worse position if they're not careful. They do wait it out long enough. He gets the Regen Rune, pops it immediately, and is looking to go back in. Can get the Veil out. Oh, nice dodge with the Sleight of Fist, and Jay will force Faceless into retreat.
Okay, they glimpse one back. That's going to be on Black. Chronosphere's going to get spent. He's going to focus on the Weaver. Can he actually kill the Weaver with the help of jabs? Yes, he can. No, he cannot. Now he actually has jumped in. Black's on the run, and now he's being chased out by a couple of heroes. Nice blink away by Miracle. Tornado backing him up, but now it's going to be Jay jumping back in. That's going to be another kill on Black. And now Jab runs the other direction. Ice 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 perhaps looking for yet another stun. He's lining up. No, he's going to blink away. And it is a circus show here. In this game, at least, and that's the fight that Mineski is looking for, right? Where Jay actually gets to run in and out of the fight repeatedly.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to try to push that even further. Currently quick buying a Blink Dagger. Could have already bought it. Maybe a side shop is his goal. But I don't know. Looking at his inventory, you have so many items that are about 2,000 gold. Like, obviously, the Yules is like 3K, the Veil, the BOTs are about 2K, and the Blink on top of that. So Radiance is like your only real item, and it just feels like it's going to hurt his trajectory. So he does not go for the Blink Dagger, does go for the Octarine as we were expecting, and I do feel like that allows him to kind of push the envelope on this build. Ralphie up top is stalking Ice Ice Ice, but really no follow-up. It's just keeping eyes on his target.
Well, they do have a BOT Ember Spirit, so...
Yeah, it's got to be BOTs too to take advantage of this kind of situation. The only thing he's doing right now is preventing Centaur from TPing home.
Actually, this is a reminiscent of, I believe, a game that we casted together during the TI Major Qualifier, where Mineski had like an 85-minute game against Fnatic.
Oh, yeah.
And a big part of that victory in that game was RR's Nyx Assassin, like, just scouting people out and then allowing his teammates to BOT2 in. I know we're not there yet, but
oh, boy.
There is a possibility of this game extending to that length, and the Ember Spirit is going to be the one that's, looking to jump in the later game scenario.
Some heavy foreshadowing here. Hopefully it does not force us into a very behind-the-schedule situation, but at least right now, both teams eyeing up the Roche pit. Lotus Orb and Pipe finished up for Daryl, and it's actually going to be a smoke attempted here. Pretty sure they have an idea. As Nuts is walking right up to the Nyx Assassin. That doesn't happen without 5 heroes behind it.
Well, they're going to try to just force on the Roshan. They blink forward, but Jay not going to get caught, and even if he was caught, they still have to Weaver back up. So I feel like Faceless, unless they get a 3 or 4-man chrono, is really not a fight they could take.
And he's going to try for it. Does get a 3-man chronosphere, but is locked out with the kinetic static. Instead, pops BKB, walks right in and finishes off the Disruptor, so that XY and Jabs can blink to the high ground and look for the flank. This is going to be on the south end that Crystal Maiden does take a spill, but they've got a lot of good damage here up in front. XY is actually taking a lot of physical damage, going to be able to roll himself out of here, and now Invoker popping some spells, some items, and trying to get himself away. Black just needs one good hit in to try to finish somebody off, gets the bash, but it's not enough with the time lapse away. The Invoker has fallen, and Black is all on his own, is going to be going down. Triple kill for Miracle, and that is Roshan for Mineski.
What did you think was the reasoning for them to force a fight like that? Like, they got the first couple of kills, which was good, and then they kept chasing, but, you know, Crystal Maiden can't keep up. Earth Spirit already blew his load, right? Like, what else was there for him?
They were just confident. I mean, they have so many tools to kind of breach this gap, where usually there's this terrain advantage for the Dire on this side, where they have the Shrine, they have a TP proxy, and you have this cliff that you have to go up. They thought that they could breach that with just these blink tools, just time walk, or well, actually, it was just a run up within the BKB and the Chrono. But then you had like 2 or 3 heroes blinking to the high ground. They thought, okay, well, we can just kind of go for like a full invade, and it just turned out not to be the case whatsoever. The fight gets dragged out again, and it just goes to show what you're talking about before, that Faceless, they're looking for quick kills with their ultimates, and if they're not actually getting more than just a disruptor out of these first few seconds of the fight, then the scale starts tipping the other way.
Yeah, and critically, Weaver hits level 18 as well. Previously, he had some trouble like running into EMPs, taking away a chunk of his mana. Now, the ultimate being free, he is going to be able to cast it pretty much every single portion of the fight, and he's going to be going for BKB as well, just prevent the silence from actually locking him down as well. So that Axe Weaver ult is going to come out regardless.
So that's going to be another pickoff on the Disruptor. Not too big a deal. No objectives to take now that Roshan is gone. Would have been critical just a moment before, but obviously that's where Mineski weren't taking risks. Now they're able to kind of spread themselves out, say, we got what we wanted. We're good for this kind of 4 or 5 minute cycle. And now they're actually going to be starting to be aggressive despite the Disruptor being dead.
Both teams just kind of shoving in side lanes, and I think actually Mineski is okay dragging this game out long, right? Because I feel like Ember Spirit is even approaching a territory to upgrade at BOT perhaps, or just start switching out items.
Yeah. Neither team is particularly good at sieging necessarily, so it means that this game is going to come down to one hero being killed off without buyback available. Right. And, I mean, yeah, the Invoker can poke at towers a little bit, but he's not going to take 3 lanes of racks just by poking. They're going to have to really find a time to commit. It's going to be centered around this Roshan. It's going to be centered around pickoffs. And, again, that's an environment that Mineski is comfortable in. Yeah.
You talked about how Faceless is not good at pushing, or not great. Mineski is just atrocious.
Yeah, no, on either side.
maybe Weaver could allow somebody to walk up and hit a tower twice, and
yeah,
they time lapse as a backup. I don't know. It's just
no. Ember Spirit's got it, dude. He's got what, like
he's got
200 damage.
He's got the Radiance.
Easy. All right. So in this position, I mean, not really any smoke and mirrors at this point. Both sides know exactly what the other is trying to do. There's no real element of surprise. It's just the Aegis advantage, and Black still looks for the Chrono.
Yep, it's gonna go in the back line here, and they're gonna try to burst down here. It will be enough. Yes. Wow, that Chrono lasted much longer than that. He buys back and he time-lapse right back in. Ninja Boogie's going to drop the ult, and they're going to try to focus on Black. Black gets glimpsed right back in. Do they have detection? They don't know they do. They're actually going to bring him down. One more hit. Please get Black. Black jumps away. He gets stunned again, but they actually use so much resource just for that kill. Jay now will jump away, jumps back into Ice taking so much damage. They will get the kill. And now Jay jumping forward once more, looking for the Invoker. Not going to be able to find it.
Yeah.
That was a 3 for 2, but with the buyback on Jules, I think that was worth.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if they can finally breach high ground, that's kind of the difficulty for either side here. I think that's going to be pretty critical, and it is going to be Void Black without a buyback and down for 50 seconds. So they're right now in forced buyback mode, where they want to try to make it so that Black has to buy back, and they ruin his progression. But instead, it's going to turn out that he just straight up doesn't have it. And that's going to be at least a tier 3, but we'll see what more they can do.
I mean, they're not really hitting it that fast. Sunstrike's going to come out. Miracle taking a ton of that damage. He still has the Aegis on him, and now here comes Jay. They're actually just not taking the tower that quickly.
Yeah, there's so many delay tactics here, but they will find Crystal Maiden here, and the Glimmer Cave is not going to be able to save him, and that is probably going to be a buyback of the Crystal Maiden coming out here. Again, they want to continue to delay. Deafening Blast coming off cooldown shortly, but the tier 3 is gone. The question is, will they back?
Yeah, nice time lapse, bringing Jay, or Miracle, down to about 60% health. It looks like they are going to just back it off. Void is back. And again, they were really relying on these Chronospheres doing work. I mean, I guess they weren't playing around the buyback from the Weaver, right?
Yeah, I think that the priority target has to be the Weaver, right? If you don't catch the Weaver in the Chrono, then your target just doesn't die.
Correct.
Because of this Aghanim's effect. So what they end up doing is focusing the right target, but with a little bit of extra money in his back pocket, Jules just resets it and completely ignores it. Like,
well, here's the thing, right? Like,
who's the real Time Lord when you got some guy who can go outside of the dimension?
Yeah. I mean, you know, even though the Weaver bought back and he was able to join the fight immediately, he had to use time-lapse to join the back the fight. So how much did that Weaver actually contribute to the fight?
So much a Swarm Medallion and
so not very much, right?
16-second reset.
So you can make the argument that they probably would have won that fight even without the buyback on Jules.
It's definitely possible. You'd have to kind of replay it in that situation to be sure, but I do feel like either way, it's a pretty heavy commitment, and it just shows, it paints a picture of what position Faceless are in. If they can't kill anybody but Weaver, and Weaver's not a key part of the plan for Mineski to win the fight after the fact, it gives Faceless very few options in terms of actually winning fights.
Yeah. And look at how kind of cocky that Jay is being. Like, he knows he is so safe with that Eul's available, and he is going to go back for the Maelstrom like you mentioned, and then that I mean, that damage output is just, I mean, I don't think anybody's really keeping up with him at this point on the side of Faceless.
Yeah, most definitely. And he's level 25, so he has +2 duration to his Searing Chains, can be very annoying to play up against. And then, of course, he's got Spell Amp, cooldown reduction, and all he had to get rid of was his Veil of Discord. So, seems to make sense. He really clearly likes to play around this Blink Dagger that can enable so many unique positions. And once he has the Mjolnir complete, he's pretty much best in slot.
Mirko, how has his progression gone? Finishes the Abysso, has a Diffusal Blade. Diffusal Blade, I guess mostly for the Ghost Scepters. XY's got one.
Yeah, you can't use it to purge Frostbite or anything anymore, and obviously we're not looking at a Mjolnir yet on the Void, so yeah, it's mostly just going to be Ghost Scepters and making sure they can stay on target in general. That's been kind of his weakness, so Abyssal and Diffuse are the two key items to stay and keep just wailing away, cracking away. But in the meantime, with that Tier 3 broken down, that means the top shrine is going to be dropping, and that's the key one to get back into the pit. So I think Mineski are feeling really confident in this game.
Yep.
Radiant's top tower.
Jabs, interestingly, buys a Tome of Knowledge at level 24. I guess he really wants that the Deafening Blast, I suppose.
So a lot of people have been talking about this recently, the kind of meme build of getting the Tornado cooldown just so short, and some people are really big fans of it. I'm sure it has won games of Dota 2, but Deafening Blast just seems, since they added it naturally to his level 25 before talents, it just felt so kind of core to the hero.
I mean...
And he goes for the Tornado.
I mean, we could sit here and debate which one is the better talent skill, but I feel like neither talent fits the situation, right? You're in a situation where you need to win the fight in the first 5 seconds. Like, having the shorter cooldown on the Tornado, ultimately, I don't think matters too much. Or would you disagree?
I mean,
because I don't think they're winning the long
It's always good. It's always helpful, but I don't... yeah, if you are one-dimensionally just putting their game plan as only kill people with Chronos, then yeah, it's not very helpful. But I'm sure there are a lot of other contexts. TP cancels after the retreat. Just chasing people down. For example, the hold that they were doing when there was that slow siege on mid, where he was dropping multiple tornadoes, multiple deafening blasts, like it's extremely helpful in that situation because you have so many tools to disarm and to prevent the enemy from hitting your barracks. So it's great for stall tactics. It's great for chasing. I mean, it's just a good spell in general. So no matter the case, it's always good to have talents rather than not have talents, and we'll just have to see how high impact that second tornado turns out to be.
All right, Faceless continue to group up here. Refuse to get picked off, but unfortunately they're also not really picking off too many people. We've been seeing like nothing but pick off early in the game, but for now they're looking for Roche.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be too late for Mineski to notice it. They've just kind of stretched themselves too thin, and that's a critical Roche. Aegis and Cheese go in the way of Faceless with no response.
I feel like Aegis is such an important item this game for both teams. Who do you give it to? Do you give it to Jabs or?
I think you give it to Jabs. I mean, he's got tornado cooldown reduction for crying out loud, but no, he goes for the Cheese. It's going to be Black that picks up the Aegis. It's kind of one of those safety nets. It's your life insurance. It's saying, okay, what if they do somehow like jump if like say the Disruptor has an Aghanim Scepter, which he's actually only 700 gold off of, and they are able to jump the Void and kill him off, if you just lose your Void at the beginning of the fight, the game's over. But if you have this Aegis, then you kind of have something to fall back on. So I think it can be very, very helpful.
Yeah, I know we've been focusing a lot on the Weaver in terms of the defensive aspects. But let's not forget that Ice.
No.
Oh, he rolled up to check for wards, and now he's going to probably drop his gem if he dies. But he kicks him off, and he's fine.
So far, so good. Going to be able to get away here. Ghost and Blink available, but just going to kill off the bug and actually get chased down a bit by Jay.
Jay's still looking.
Okay. Well, long duration steering chains, but they don't have the follow through, and of course they're down Aegis and Cheese, so they want to kind of force Faceless to come to them. They play really well with the Disruptor and choke points and the steering chains as the enemy is chasing them, so I think it's just all in all much better for them. On top of that, of course, you have Ninja Boogie finishing his Ags, not caring about what's going on down bottom, so 4v5s are generally pretty bad.
Yeah, so I was actually saying that Ice has Refresher Axe himself, so you know, the game plan of jumping at Void first, now suddenly they have to kill it through 2 Centaur ults.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's actually possible before he gets, you know, to use his jump.
It's very interesting. I have not seen that, but it definitely seems to be quite high potential. You also can't underrate the Pipe of Insight, being able to use that twice.
Sure, yeah.
Because they made it so that essentially it'll just overwrite the buff to maximum value.
He's in there.
Oh, big pickup with self-fuels. They have to chrono it, and they are going to be able to get this kill.
Where's the time lapse? Where's the time
No,
lapse?
he's dead. He's dead.
Okay.
That's a very long-range spell, but you can't be halfway across the map and,
I mean,
help
Weaver
your brother
has
out.
Blink. Like, he was trying to get there.
For sure. He needs that Shikushi movement speed, dude. Race car.
Get that 25 talent. Is that actually the one that he should take, you think, here?
I've always taken it, but the alternative would be magic resistance, which
it's not bad, right?
It's not bad.
It's
not
bad.
bad.
To burst him down.
But it's, you know, it's a race car. Like, how do you turn down a free Ferrari?
Well, Black just hitting the tower right now. Tornado continue being spammed, and all of a sudden it's Mineski suddenly on the back foot.
Tough spot to be in here. The Ember Spirit does not want to buy back, but the idea here is they're going to force it. They've got the Aegis. They've got all the time in the world. If there's no buyback, then it's just going to be racks.
Oh, they glimpsed one back in. I think they're actually trying to bait some sort of response by Faceless. They know they can't actually kill the Void.
Are they that hesitant that they can't take this? I mean, obviously, if they commit to the fight, they get caught inside the kinetic field, and then the Ember buys back. Like, they're in a really rough spot without the Chrono. So I can understand that hesitance, but at the same time, this means pretty much the Aegis is not going to be used at all. Like, it's got 2 minutes left, and they're not going to be in an aggressive position for the next 2.
Oh, you're saying that Faceless should come in?
Yeah, I think that with the Aegis in mind, that there's a possibility that could have been the right play. But
oh, Black just activated his BKB by accident.
I know he was TPing out. He just wants to make it kind of be sure.
It was 5 seconds anyways, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, there have been games lost where you don't activate your BKB and TP at a random spot, so it's pretty important to do against the Nyx Assassin. But yeah, no, it's a tough decision to make. Like, I could see it either way. They can look back at the replay and say, well, is this a possible course of action? I think the big loss here is they pick off the Ember Spirit and then they don't force buyback. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how the game pans out in the long run, and I don't want to hindsight it or anything, but I will say that was an opportunity that could have been good, could have been bad to make the decision to commit on the high ground with the Aegis.
Sure, I can see where you're coming from, especially with Forge Spirit and Alacrity. It won't take too long to actually hammer down the Raxus. And meanwhile, we're kind of playing more of a split map kind of game, and despite Jay dying by jumping into, like, you know, a party of 5, I feel like Mineski with the heroes is very good for this stage of the game, whereas I think Faceless more or less forced to roam as a group of 4. I don't think they could spread out as easily as, you know, an Ember and a Nyx can.
Alright, so we pretty much agree that this Ember Spirit is as strong as he can be. Where's this Ursa going? He's actually looking at an Echo Saber of all items, so always look at that item as a... Oh no, it's actually Orchid. I don't know why I said Echo Saber, but yeah, with going for Bloodthorn, this game would be really high value. You have to wait for BKBs to be exhausted, but once you have that, it's actually could be very, very strong.
I mean, there's a lot of things that could break it, right? That's already available. You have
Lotus. 2 Lotuses from the Centaur.
Yeah, 2 Lotus. You got BKBs. You got Lincolns. So I don't know if actually
get the Enchant Remnant on you. Just oh, he's getting crit. He's silenced. Nope, he's a rock.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure, like, if that's a good buy here.
Is this just gonna be like a battle of the counter initiation, where like all these defensive tools are in play? You've got like the Weaver time lapse. You'll have double stampede. You'll have the enchant remnant, and it's just a matter of who is able to keep their cores alive the longest.
Right. And you know, I think the story that we've been painting so far is that Mineski is the one that's favoring these long drawn-out fights. I feel like we're reaching to a stage where the physical damage of Faceless is already high enough where if Void gets to survive in a long fight, he can just solo carry. So I don't think the whole Mineski wins the long fight is as true as it previously was.
I mean, especially with this short cooldown tornado.
Yeah, we gotta always go back to that tornado, man.
I mean, you get the tornado, you get like a BKB freezing field. What are they gonna do? All right, we're gonna see poke and prod. Not really looking for the opportunity, but really not finding it. Earth Spirit is not the target you want to prioritize with things like the Blink Abyssal. Tough spot for both teams. I mean, it's really hard to catch the enemy by surprise in this position. All the movements seem really projected. And, I mean, as far as just overall net worth, it's almost dead even. So it really comes down to, like, execution and essentially, I think it comes down to actually picking up the heroes that are trying to save their allies. So, again, going on the Weaver before you get time-lapse, or soon to be going for this Earth Spirit before he can enchant Remnant.
Mineski pushing essentially against the 6 heroes. Cheese is available on black. They still have the double Centaur ult.
Oh, top lane. Going to be a Chronosphere here. Nice little free pickup on the Ember Spirit as Jabs is here as well. And that is going to be a big kill. Again, they are going to have to force buyback if they're going to make it really worth anything more than that. But at the very least, keeping his gold down.
Yeah, I mean, Roshan is spawning really soon, so...
I don't know. Like, does his gold mean anything? I think it's really just his buyback. He should be buying like gems and sentries at this point.
I guess there's really no point to buy like Moon Shard on him, right?
Nah, I mean you can, but it's not really any real value. Yeah, you're really looking just at like BOT level 2. Tough spot. I mean, they just lost their Ember Spirit, and the Centaur again has a refresher. Oh, he's also got the Host Stomp duration instead of the Return Aura. I've always heard a lot of talk about this Return Aura, and not really many people pump it up the Hoof Stomp duration, but that is going to be a 3.75 second total. That's
okay.
A very long stun. I mean, that's like a Beastmaster Roar in a circle. Obviously, it doesn't go through BKB, but there's not a lot of BKBs in play at this point. The Weaver did not end up picking his up yet. But we're going to see a jump in here onto Faceless Void. He doesn't have his Chronosphere available, but does Abyssal Blade echoes on the Echo Shell, and that's going to be Ursa locked in position. Can't do much of anything. Now it's going to be Ember Spirit bought back, and this is what they're trying to do. Force the buyback, get into a safer position, and let it go with the freezing field coming down. Ember Spirit stunned up for 4 seconds, but the time lapse saves his life. Now Ursa locked out without an answer except for the Enrage. Manning up on Centaur, trying to drop him down. Needs 2 more hits to bring him down. Instead heads for the hills. That Tornado catching him out on the tail end of it. But this is where the Ember Spirit wants to be, doing a lot of damage over time continuously, and finishing off the Centaur War Runner. Now a buyback on the Ursa as they come back in, trying to finish off the Invoker. They will do so, and continue to pursue. There is no shrine to get to, XY TPing out, but the Void himself only has Time Walk to get him out of this one. Has the Chronosphere as well, but I'm not sure if they're so worried about that one.
They don't have vision on him. He's just Shadow Bladed up, he's running away. Mineski is going to get an objective out of this one, so... I think previously you were wondering why is Faceless not pressing with the Aegis, and now this time around they're pressing without the Aegis, and the Mineski buyback definitely made them paid. Miracle will get the Aegis because he did have to buy back.
Yeah, 2 buybacks now gone.
Yep.
So there is a lot of risk in Mineski's next push, but at the same time, they've gotten pretty much the best chokehold they've had on this game, and they want to force an Invoker buyback.
Yep, and critically the Tier 3 has been opened up. I don't think Glyph is available.
Looks like Radiant just glyphed, actually.
They glyph for bottom? What did he glyph for?
Oh my gosh,
they
that's
glyph
such
for nothing.
a play. That's 5 seconds down the drain in terms of sieging damage. The Invoker is going to buy back now. Going to be able to combo up a bit on the Ursa, but the definitely pushes him the other way. Now Earth Spirit caught out, actually gets his boulder interrupted by the Ember Spirit, and Nyx Assassin goes in. Comboing up here onto the Invoker is not able to use his
Chrono?
BKB, but there's a Chronosphere onto the Ursa. He gets time lapsed back. Instead, they go on the Nyx Assassin, who will be dropping down. And now the big stun! A triple stun coming in from Ice Ice Ice. They go in and break that Aegis on the Ursa. Now going to be trying to finish off one more target. Black Time walks out. It's going to be the full disengage from Mineski.
Tornado?
Always with the tornadoes, but that was a hell of a stun by Ice Ice Ice.
Yeah, that was, and unfortunately, I think the Chronosphere just caught too many people. Like, we keep saying that time lapse is good for saving the one, and they did save the one, but unfortunately, when half your team gets disabled, it doesn't matter if you save the one. There's just no damage output for your team.
So as far as buybacks goes, kind of looking at the tally on the board, we're looking at Ember Spirit and Ursa both having theirs on cooldown for the next 4.5 minutes. Invoker and Centaur, having just bought back, are going to be down for about 6 minutes. So with that in mind, do Faceless want to push? Do they want to try to pressure and try to get just that one glorious pickoff on Ursa or Ember to win the game? Or are they too scared that the Invoker is going to lose his life?
I don't think you straight up push. I think you roam around the map and look for a Chrono pickoff, which it seems like the game plan that's been on Blacksmith's mind.
There is one smoke on Nuts. There is also one on Ninja Boogie. So could be critical choice of movement here as they have to find the opening. In the meantime, though, it's actually going to be Jay very confident in his movements here, knowing that they're making moves anywhere but bottom, and just going to be able to clear that out real quick and jump back to safety.
In that previous team fight, we saw not the previous team fight, but the one before that, where Faceless lost. We saw the power of the refresher Axel from Centaur. It was like Black. I think he took every spell in the book, and he still survived.
Yeah.
And got the time lapse. So.
Yeah, the Time Walk is just such a strong spell when you have the Centaur Stampede not once but twice. So it's really hard for them to find a good target. I think Invoker is the most vulnerable, actually.
Oh, they see the Weaver, they silence him up, and now are there going to be any sort of initiation? Glimpse back, and Impale does not hit because of the Yules, and now BKB on the back line, but he actually does not get anybody. He gets first hit by Ash by block, and he's still being bashed. He pops his ult, but he's seeing Frostbite, and still being bashed up, and now Ice 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 coming on the back line here, refreshes. Oh! That's going to find a lot. I think the Weaver trapped inside, and now everybody's just dead. Weaver nowhere nearby, and now Crystal Maiden letting it go on the back line. Miracle's going to be dead as well. They get 4. Where was the Weaver in that fight? I had no idea. It looks like he did use his ult, but
yeah, he was able to get one reset out there, but it just didn't matter enough. Like, he's able to help out the Ursa, but in the end, it's going to be way too much damage going against them. They call the GG. Very, very nicely done by Faceless as the patience pays off, and they're able to win the one fight that mattered.
Wow. I really wanted to know what our table predicted. I don't know if you were aware, but they're doing some sort of punishment game. I'm pretty sure everyone wussed out and went Faceless, and they were barely correct because this is I could have seen Mineski winning this game.
Dude, SEA Dota's been bringing some heat today. 57 minutes in this game. Most of them have been going about an hour, and a lot of them have been very close matchups, despite a lot of people expecting games to go one way or another. So, very exciting conclusion here as the third game here for the Beyond the Summit Kiev Major Qualifier Hub, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next couple of games. This has been intense.
Did you think that Mineski just got outplayed towards the end, or just do you think that this lineup can't beat Faceless?
Oh, it definitely can. Oh, there's absolutely a world that this could work out, but it comes down to execution. I feel like there were a couple of times where they probably were stronger than at the latest stage, where Ember Spirit was already critical mass. The Disruptor was kind of limited in his options as far as how he can get his kinetics out and how Faceless was playing around it. I just feel like once you have like a refresher on Centaur, you have your Aghanims on the Earth Spirit, and you have all these other tools at your disposal, the game just gets really hard. That game could have gone either way, but execution got harder and harder for Mineski, and in the end, they're not able to cinch the win. Now Faceless up 2 wins in the early stage of the Open Qualifiers.
Yeah. I mean, I think when your best initiation is Ninja Boogie blinking in to drop a note, that's not really probably what you wanted, right? On the other side, you had like Blink Chrono, you blink hexes. So it just, I don't know. You could say it's item, you could say it's lineup, but I think Faces also played it extremely well. Cool, calm, and collected in the late game, so very well done.
Yep, so bringing it back here, it is going to be the conclusion of Game 3 here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's myself, Blaze. If you enjoyed the commentary, follow me at BlazeCasting and Lumi at Luminous Inverse. And we'll be bringing you guys the next game here in just a few minutes, so stay tuned.